So please, with a resounding round of applause, let us make welcome Temilade Salami, the global Temilade.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Joseph for organizing something amazing like this. And next year, I'm already thinking you already have an app where everybody can connect. Like, this is massive, so well done. And thanks to all the speakers that spoke earlier before me. All right, I'll go straight to the point because I know we don't have time, and I'll be as practical as possible. So, how do we position for global opportunities? Don't worry, I don't have a slide. I promise you enjoy the session. All right, tell your neighbor it is time to go global. Yeah, I feel like a pastor on this stage. All right, tell your neighbor again, it is time to go global. All right, so today I'll be sharing with you on how to position for global opportunities. The word position is very important because there's a positioning to get global opportunities, right? So get your pens, your papers, iPads, digital notes, AI notes ready, and most importantly, get your mind ready. All right, let's keep the ball rolling. There are 3 questions you need to ask yourself when it comes to going global. The first one is, why do you need to go global? The second one is, who do you need to become to evolve into to go global? And the third one, what ways can you go global? I'll add the last one, which is an extra one. What platform or tools are readily available for you to go global? So, let's start with the why. When I decided that I wanted to be the global Temi, before I even changed my name on Instagram, I had to come to the terms with the fact that I wanted to understand the main reason why I was going for that kind of opportunity, or even wanting to desire to be on the global stage. For you, it could be different, but generally for me, it was access to international opportunities. Because I know that what I carry is not just for Nigeria, it's for the global stage. So I needed to position to access those opportunities, and that was why I decided to go global. So first one, access to international opportunities. The second one, money, because it's very important to earn in dollars. Unlocking new sources of income, right? It could be that for you. And the third one is to get ahead in your field. There are so many other reasons, but these were the 3 reasons why I wanted to get into this space. I'm going to reiterate: access to international opportunities, unlocking new sources of income, specifically in hard currency, and the third one, to get ahead in your field. So let's cut to the chase. Who do you need to become to go global? You need to become an excellent person. So I'm going to break this down. What definition comes to mind when you think about an excellent person? For me, the characteristics, we have a lot, but the first one is discipline. So it's not every day that I wake up in fact, today, I didn't really feel like coming to this conference. I'm just telling you, I had a 16-hour flight from Detroit yesterday down to Nigeria, and I slept at 3 a.m. yesterday. But the reason why I'm in this room is because I'm disciplined and I keep to my word, right? And that's the reason why you can even hear me speak right now. So it's not really a motivation thing for me, it's discipline. Knowing that I need to get something done and I get it done at the time that I need to get it done. That's the first characteristics of an excellent person. Number 2 is ruthless execution. So if I say I want to do something, how do I think about doing that particular thing? And beyond thinking, how am I going to execute? I'm going to give you a very good example. When I was serving at the Ministry of Environment, see if you're a copper and you're serving in the ministry, except people, they really work. Let me tell you, you won't be going to work, and that's the truth. Majority of the ministries then, because there's really nothing for you to do, right? And for the ministry that I served, they had a lot of technical things like remediation. I was even coming up in the field. I didn't understand what those things were. They were clearing oil spillage in the Niger Delta region. They could not even take us because for copper sake, and if anything happens on the field, you can't even go back to say this is what has happened. So, but one thing I said to myself is the fact that yes, I might be a core member, but I'm going to give this my all. So I was going to work Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think they were paying about 15,000 naira. So they will pay you your January salary. They will pay you in March, right? So it was not rosy, right? But I kept to my words, and I was going there and I was showing up every day. And one thing I would say about ruthless execution in that example is the fact that I was in a room like this, the ministry organized a phasing out of single plastic program, and when ministers sitting in the room. To be very honest, I didn't know they were ministers. Some of them were top companies or top leaders of multinationals. And I was just there doing my thing, asking my boss, is there anything you need me to print? Okay, can I just sit at the back? Can I just watch? And from there, I met somebody, and that was how we got our first, in fact, our biggest grants that we used to run my organization in that particular year. And the reason why I was able to meet that person was because I didn't just stay at the back. It was time for, they call it group meetings and all of that. And I said, oh, can I volunteer to be your repertoire? I didn't even know what I was repertoire, but I should know I was working, right? So, and when we were done, I delivered what I needed to deliver excellently. And me and the guy got talking, and that was how we built that relationship. And it produced a great result, right? So you have to be very ruthless with your execution. If you are showing up, show up 100. If you are coming to a conference, there's a way to dress like you are coming to a conference. There's an attitude towards communication in a conference like this. So whatever you are doing, make sure that you are giving your 100 to it. The third one is integrity. One thing I don't joke about, even for those of you that know that I run a business in Abuja, I like my peace of mind and integrity more than money. So if I tell you I'm going to deliver something to you by Monday, if anything happens, trust me, it's delivery, guys, it's not me, right? I'll keep to my word. So I feel like that's one of the greatest assets I have, that people can trust me and they can put their things into my hands or their work into my hands. So it's not all about money sometimes, right? Make the money very good, but make sure that you are trustworthy in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, because it's something that is very bankable, right? So ruthless execution, discipline, and integrity. Now to the second one, you need to be a knowledgeable person, and I cannot overemphasize this. When I was growing in this space, so I wanted to become a doctor. If you follow me on Instagram, you know the story. I was in Unilag studying dentistry and dental surgery, and then boom, Unilag happened. I know what you're thinking. I'm a very, very intelligent person. But they just wiped out like 100 of us out of the department, and I had to go to marine biology. If you are here and you're a doctor, they take you to marine biology. How would you feel? It's not nice, right? But I knew that, okay, now that I'm in marine biology and I'm going to graduate in 3 years, I better put in the work, and also acquire knowledge. And that was when I met my husband, the first question he asked me when he saw my page and everything was like, are you sure you really want to do this environment thing, or it's just like the side? I'm like, okay, calm down, it's just big, small. But yeah, I just said, okay, I really want to do this environment thing. But the worst part is that, looking around in Nigeria, there were just a few people doing climate education or environmental education. And just like you said, most times you don't even have blueprints. There's no data for you to work. Research the internet. You can't even find one Nigerian doing that thing. But I said to myself, if I can't find somebody in Nigeria, I'll look out to the world. There are many people doing it outside Nigeria. And that was where my journey to being global started. So everything I was doing with a global mindset. So I was researching about something. I'm researching about, what does climate education looks like in Denmark, in Salzburg, in list all the countries in the US, right? And because I was doing all that, every other thing coming back to me started becoming global. I'll give you a very good example. If you want to buy bag today, just as I'm just thinking of buying bag, by the time I open my phone on Instagram, I'm sure there'll be a bag vendor on my page. Have you guys ever experienced that? So that was what happened. The more I searched for like global opportunities, talk about the work that I do, automatically all those things just kept, coming like suggestions on my Instagram, on my LinkedIn. All the people that were following you were people working in climate change or business or education and things like that. So the more you do that, technology even makes it easier for you to attract those opportunities. And one thing about knowledge, I said to myself, how can I differentiate myself in the field? I want people to think about climate education in Africa and think about TAMI, like top of mind awareness, right? So I was deliberate about it, and one thing I had to do was I started producing material. So I currently have like 2 children's books on climate education. They are illustrated in black characters. People buy the book is on Amazon, right? And when I started creating all those resources, what I saw was that there were not so many templates and data available, and I became that go-to person for climate education, at least for people that work in climate change in Nigeria. I know you know Timmy, right? Any climate change person here? Right, I see you. Alright, so that was what I did, and it was thought leadership that got me there. And how did I get to thought leadership? By reading, constantly just consuming things that were in my field. Now, I subscribe to like newsletters from organizations that work in climate education. I applied to organizations that have fellowship that has to be climate education or climate change generally. So if you can see, everything I've been doing for the past 5 years has literally been me in the climate education space, and also being in that ecosystem that allows me to position myself automatically, right? So you have to be a very knowledgeable person. Today when I was preparing, I asked Joseph that, do I need to put up slide? And one thing I said to my friend was that, I can stay on this stage and talk about climate education for the next 24 hours without looking at my book. And the reason is because I've read so many things about climate education to the point that it has now become a part of me, right? Just the way you can talk about all the new artists and the new album Burna Boy just released. You can also go to your field and then read all the articles, subscribe to some of them. You have to pay for them. They're like maybe $3 per month or so. But if you don't pay for these things, you can't have access to all this information, right? So train yourself to always read things that are beyond your knowledge. I remember that time there's something called the IPCC report, and I will read it. I'll be seeing words like remediation, this. I'm like, please. This climate change space, can you people the English is just too much, right? And if you're in a space, you know what I'm talking about. But I had to train my mind to read what is bigger than me, because that's the only way you expand your mind, and that's the only way you acquire knowledge, right? So that's the second one. You have to be an excellent person, you have to be knowledgeable, and the third one, you have to be a valuable person. There's some people that they send me DM, I'm not able to do it, and it's not because I don't like them, it's just because every time they come, they're just trying to get something from me, get and get. I like to give, but it gets to a point where even the person that is giving does not want to give too much of themselves, right? At that particular point, right? So you have to be a valuable person. When you're coming into a space, networking with people, already check their background. So how can I contribute to what you're doing? Is there something you are selling that can be of value to that person? Is there something you are doing that can be of value to that person? I'm going to give a very good example. So when I go to conferences, let me say COP, for example, COP is Conference of Parties for Climate Change. So I'm using lots of acronyms. Conference of Parties for Climate Change. So imagine a conference like this, but bringing presidents of the world, ministers, anything like very high level, right? And it's going to run for about 2 weeks. One of the things that I do, I mark all the sessions I'm going to attend. And when I mark the session, I look at all the people that are speaking. I go to their LinkedIn. Okay, this is what this person does. Oh, how can I add value to this person? What can I do? And I have books, okay? I'll bring some books from Nigeria, like 10. If I see that they have children, I will tell them to give their kids, right? And when I go to those people, one thing I always see is that they want to speak to me more because I'm giving them value. Like, okay, what can I do for your organization? And I'm going to give a very good example. So I'm currently a GPE leader. GPE is a global partnership for education. And I remember meeting one of their staff members, who is a Nigerian at COP in Egypt. And I was like, oh yeah, I wrote this book. I was just walking around with my book. I was looking for lunch. And then she was like, oh yeah, we're also here for like climate education and all of that. And I think that was like their first time officially at the conference. And I sat down with her and I was talking with her. I was like, oh, this is what I do in Nigeria. This is my book. I would like to give children. And that was how I became a GPA leader. And normally, this is not an application that you will see publicly. So many times when people come and meet me by there, oh, tell me how can I apply? I'm just like, see, I don't apply. I position myself in the way that I give value enough that people are attracted to us. Right? So that was how that came about. Till today, I don't know what happened, but I know somebody was in the room and spoke for me based on the value that I offered at that conference. And to be very honest, when I went to that conference, I didn't even know I was going to meet that person. We just jammed each other. But I was already ready. If you jam me today, I have something I can offer you. I'll tell you I run a business, I'll collect your money, I'll print t-shirts for the next YPC conference, So I'm very, very value oriented and all of that. And that was how that happened. So those are the 3 things. You need to be an excellent person, you need to be knowledgeable, like very knowledgeable. And number 3, you need to be very valuable. And what do you need to do? So there are 10 things you need to do. You might want to write, and I'll run through quickly. Number 1, be intentional and set goals. I think I'll use my business, for example, because that can also speak to the creator's economy. When I started light and cuttings, it was just in my room. I think I was living somewhere like a no self-contained. I would just take pictures and videos. I like to make t-shirts, and people started buying. But I knew that like I feel very uncomfortable when I'm doing something for too long and I'm not scaling, right? So I set a goal. I said, okay, for the next 2 years, within the next 2 years, I'm going to own a store in Abuja, and this is what I'm going to do. This is how many t-shirts I need to sell to be able to rent a store. This is what I need to do. Okay, if I can sell t-shirts to rent a store, and there are other skills I can quickly, monetize. Okay, I can run a webinar. Okay, I did a webinar in general. That made me about 2 point something million naira, right? And I got my store, and I was very intentional. So I'm not the regular, self-employed person. You can be the self-employed person 3 months, but make sure that whatever you are doing, you have a growth mindset, right? So I was very intentional. I will set goals in the next 3 months. This is what I need to sell. I have an assistant that works in my store, and she knows our target. Every day, this is what we will sell. She doesn't necessarily have to go out to be a salesperson, but whatever she's doing, she has a mindset of growth. So when she's speaking to a customer, she knows how to speak, because she knows that this person that will make our 100K target for the week. I'm just saying, so you need to be intentional, and you also need to set goals, right? So number 2, understand and leverage your strengths and skills. So there are some things that I can do well, and there are some things that I cannot do very well. Some people are very good with, they can sell anything to you. That's me. I know how to sell. I know how to monetize my skills, at least to report, and also I know how to mobilize people. So you have a conference, okay, get me 100 people the next 1 week. I know how to get people to be in this room. Those are some of my skills. There's some things I'm not really good at, or maybe I'm good at it, but honestly, I don't just fancy them, right? So you need to understand those your skills and strengths, and make sure you leverage them. So when I meet people, they're like, oh, I can't really talk like Temi. But you don't need to be able to talk like Temi, right? There are other things that you can do very well that Temi cannot do. Make sure that thing, you are hitting on it properly. That's your strength, right? And those are the things that you are going to leverage to grow. So number 3, because they told me I have 5 minutes, you have to stay consistent and visible. One thing I always say, if you put off the light in this room now, everywhere, I'm very sure that if you're just coming into this room, if you've never been into this room before, you're probably going to stumble like 3 times or 4 times, because everywhere is dark. You will not even see your neighbor, like if it's very dark. That's what visibility is. So I know there's a place for mercy of God and grace of God, but there's also a place for you to turn on the light that God has called you to be, right? So you cannot carry something and hiding. God did not call you to be hiding under your bed. So I meet people, and they're like, oh, I do this. And I'm like, okay, give me your Instagram handle. And first of all, their page is private. It's okay if your private page is private, but if you're a business owner, why is there padlock on your Instagram? So, because that's my first intuition. Like if you tell me, oh, I do this, oh, I do voiceovers, I do animation, the first thing, oh, give me your handle. I want to watch videos, I want to see things, I want to hear things, right? So imagine me saying all these things on this space, and you get my Instagram handle, and you go there, it's private. How would you feel? Or you go there, there's nothing. How would you feel? You probably feel disappointed. That's the same way people who are poaching for talent are feeling when you carry something so huge on the inside, but you're not shining it because, I just like to be on my own. But that's not who God has called you to be, right? So you need to stay visible. And one of the things I always say is when you shine a light, others too are able to shine their light. They're able to see you, and they are able to see that these things are actually possible and it's not far-fetched, right? So stay consistent and visible. So last week I was in Detroit for about a whole week. If you check, I'm probably like the only young person that I invited to that event that did reels. In fact, I did like 3 reels a day consistently. It's not because I don't have work. I have a lot of work. But I know that me doing that kind of those kind of videos and putting them on my page gives me more visibility. So when you type climate education, Detroit, USA, this one, I'll probably pop up on your timeline, right? So you need to start thinking that way. And number 4, embrace continuous professional development. Stay hungry and don't get comfortable. And I think one of my biggest inspiration is this man here. Like every time he's going for this course, he's going for this one. I too like book. But then he said something. He said the space we are in, you need to continually be on the radar. Before you sleep and wake up, the world has moved on, right? So you cannot say what you know is what you knew 5 years ago. What is currently happening? If they wake you up and see what's happening in computer science in Nigeria right now? Can you talk about it? What's the latest AI technology? Can you talk about it? And all the times that you can consume on Instagram, scrolling through Barbie, and I do it too, but like make sure that you section and portion the other times for you to actually grow professionally, right? So embrace continuous professional development. Stay very hungry. I always say it, no matter where I go in my life, in fact, see, let the United States President invite me, there is more. Like, there's always more. No matter where you think you've been to 10 countries, there is always more countries. I've not been to all the countries in the world, so I'm not going to stop, right? So there's still more. Like, I need to be in some rooms. Okay, I've been to the UN, but I want to be in the decision-making space where they can come here and say, okay, that's Temi right there. Let Temi do this for us. Temi can do this. There's more, right? So don't stay comfortable. They said my time is up. I'll finish this thing very quickly in 5 minutes. Sorry. So stay hungry and don't get comfortable. The next one, leverage the right digital platforms. You have arsenal of tools at your disposal. Temi, it's because I'm not in America, that's why I have no blue. It's a lie. I can tell you for free, you can be in Nigeria and be a global citizen. I'm a testament to that one. As in, before the end of the year, I have like 3 trips, fully funded, waiting, just because I work in private education, right? So you can be here, doing your thing locally and also going global. So it's not a thing of a space. Of course, there will be times where you have to be in that kind of space for some opportunities and things like I did my master's in the UK, fully funded. But I also know that it is not because I went to the UK, right? It's because Temi is Temi. Because another person can go to the UK and not see what happened, right? So it's really about you as an individual. And I know people are making thousands of dollars inside this world. They don't used to share, but we know them. We see them, right? So leverage the right digital platform. Know what to post on LinkedIn. If you go to my LinkedIn, I'm a very professional person. I still posted my wedding video there. But on Twitter, I'll talk about Barbie and all those things. And on Instagram, I mix my business. See, I am me. Like, if you come to my page, I don't really like what you're saying, it's fine. So be okay to evolve. You don't need to be explaining to people. If you run a business, if you run an NGO, put everything on your Instagram. Instagram is a very happy platform. And then LinkedIn, be very, very professional. So leverage the right digital platforms. I know one thing I like about digital platform. Nobody cares if your dad is that good or not. If you are good, you are good. And that's one thing I like about the global space. Nobody cares where you are from, what background you have, or how much money your father has. Once you are excellent, excellence is a language everybody understands on the global stage. So I'll run very quickly. Put in the work and show up ready. I always tell someone, if this was a virtual call and I was, maybe on the screen with YPC, I'll be wearing the same thing I'm wearing, and that's because this is just me. I like to dress okay, I like to dress nice, because I'm dressing for the party that I'm going, So it's a mindset thing. You have to show up the way you want to be regarded, right? Also, evolve and build a personal brand. If you know me for like 6 years now, I've been telling the poet, telling me the designer, telling me this one, and now I'm telling the climate change person. So I see people that are like, I work in nursing, but I want to do this thing. What will people say? It's my page, if you don't like it, you move on, right? So be okay to evolve without explaining yourself too much to people. I used to be in medical field and now I want to transport myself to tech. What will people say? Just do what you have to do without having to explain yourself to anybody. See, I say it, everybody will catch up on me. That's just the way I see life. I will do what I need to do. Every other person will catch up, right? So be okay to evolve without explaining yourself and build a personal brand. And I think this is very important because it's beyond doing Canva, using brown and clean girl aesthetics and all those things. You know what I'm talking about. But personal brand has to do with you as a person. Who are you when people meet you off Instagram? Who are you when people meet you in spaces, right? So it's beyond the graphic design. It is you as a person. So what do you stand for? I stand for excellence. I stand for execution. Like, bring the ideas. Let's get it to work. And I stand for like helping people. Like, just showing people the way I love to teach, and like that's one of my fortes. So you have to know the things that you stand for. And to me, that's literally your personal brand. So if you go on my page now, there are so many clash of colors, yellow, green. But I still have followers. My followers are increasing. Why? Because now maybe the personal brand. I don't need colors to prove to you that this is who I am, right? So you need to build your personal brand and also evolve. The last 3 points. Network efficiently and build community. And I think the best person to talk to you about community building is Salem right here. Like, is our Oga Shonsa. Anyway, so yeah, network efficiently, and when you get into rooms like this, don't look for what you can just collect from people. Please give me this, give me that. In fact, this world has moved past like just sharing your business cards, you as a person. But when you approach people, what do? I think I met somebody here recently, and she said she's a seamstress. And the way she said it, I'm just a seamstress. Like, you're not just, like, you are a seamstress. This is what you do, and you've been in the space for 3 years. Be confident about it. You don't even know if I want to sew clothes, right? So when you come into spaces like this, be very, very confident in what you do. That was not a shame, though. You know you're my friend. Anyways, the last two was play the long-term game, so that you can remain top of mind. The reason why you know Dangote is because Dangote has been existing before, even before they call me, Dangote has been existing. And the way you are doing, the way you are running your business or running your brand determines if you are going to last long in the game, right? I'm going to give you a very good example. So when I first got into this space, there was really nothing like climate education. So I was really finding it very hard. I love education, I love climate change, and I found the intersection between both of them. But I knew that there would be a time where everybody in this world will be talking about climate change, but nobody will be able to explain it properly. So I position myself, right, to be that bridge behind breaking down the science and the big words to layman language, right? So you need to play the long-term game. And those times, there were no opportunities to travel. I was always going to schools. Our volunteers, I use my own money to go and do outreach in school. And it's not outreach or just sharing something. We go there consistently, adopt the schools and teach children. Because I knew that by the time the field is ready, I'll be top of mind. They will not need to think twice, they'll just come and call me, right? So you need to play the long-term game. Don't do things because, okay, somebody has done, let me just quickly go into this field. Let me just quickly go into this field and I'll blow. Once I blow, we are not meant to grow. We're supposed to stay and be light, and light is always consistent, right? So play the long-term game so that you can remain top of mind. And my last one, this one, very important. You have to document. I cannot overemphasize this. You have to document. And I'm going to give you a very good example. So when my business started running first year, I needed to travel and then I needed to print statement of results. I think you remember that day. And I saw how much my business had made. I screamed. I said, Jesus Christ. So this business is making these millions of naira. And I think I didn't know because we were not documenting properly. I was just making sales, so we were making profits. Quick money, I can just quickly remove some money. But I realized that I was not documenting properly. So what did I do? First of all, I was not even looking for any software platform. I opened Excel sheet. And then I looked for one website that I could just post my stuff. And for every sale we make, my assistant knows, even as I'm here, if she's at the store, every single sale we make, we put it in there. So that at the end of the month, I can see and say, okay, we make 50 this month. Why did we sell 50 t-shirts this month? Why didn't we sell 100? What did you do better last month? So you need data. You need to document so that you can know if you are growing. So if you don't even document the last year, how will you know if you are growing this year? So some of you are even growing, you don't know it because there's no result. There's no proof. You don't have proof. You don't take pictures. You don't take videos. You say you're a mystery person. That is not the life God has called you to live. You are not mysterious. You're a child of God. Like, you're supposed to be out there doing the things that you need to do. Document your life. And I'm not saying post it on Instagram. There's so many things I don't post on Instagram. But make sure that at the end of the year, you're able to look through your gallery and say, wow, this was where I was. God, thanks. And the reason why you're also comparing yourself to other people sometimes is because you're not really looking back on your journey, right? So I know where I was. I have a video when I was in England, level. I have big jewels, and I mean it, right? And that's because that allows you to track your journey, know where you're coming from, so that you know where you're going. So I don't come. I need to. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening.